She was my sister. I trusted her with everything, until she sold the one thing that kept our mother's memory alive. That's when I realized, family doesn't always mean loyalty. I was standing in Mom's old bedroom, holding the small velvet box I kept hidden in her dresser drawer. It had been 2 years since she passed, but that ring, her wedding ring, still felt warm with memory. Gold, delicate, a small diamond in the center, not flashy but full of history. It was the only thing I had left that truly felt like her, and I guarded it like a piece of my own heart. My name is Alina. I'm 29 years old, and my life has never really been simple. My dad left when I was 10, and Mom raised me and my older sister Sarah all by herself. She worked 2 jobs and gave us everything she could. Sarah, being the older one, always acted like the leader. But even then, there were signs, little selfish things she'd do that we brushed off as just her personality. After Mom died, things changed fast. Sarah became colder, more distant. She had married into money. Her husband, David, was a decent guy with a good heart. But Sarah, she was never satisfied. She complained about the house, the cars, even the help. Meanwhile, I lived in our childhood home, working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. I didn't mind. I had memories. And Mom's ring. Then one weekend Sarah came to visit. She walked in with her oversized sunglasses and designer purse like she was doing me a favor. I thought I'd check on you, she said, her eyes scanning the house like she was hunting for something valuable. We had coffee. She asked about my job, rolled her eyes at my answer, and then said something that made my stomach twist. You still have Mom's ring, right? I paused. Yeah, why? She laughed a little. I was just thinking, maybe it should be mine. I mean, I'm the older one. I stared at her. That ring doesn't belong to either of us. It's Mom's memory. It stays here. Sarah pouted. Don't be so dramatic, Alina. It's just a piece of jewelry. But it wasn't. And I knew deep down something about her visit wasn't right. The next day I went to check on the ring. And it was gone. I tore the dresser apart, searched every drawer, every corner. I even checked the garbage. Gone. My hands were shaking. My chest burned with betrayal. I called her. Sarah, did you take the ring? She didn't even hesitate. What ring? I nearly screamed. Don't play dumb. Mom's ring. It's gone. She hung up on me. I spent that night crying like I hadn't cried since the funeral. It wasn't just a ring. It was everything Mom stood for. Love, sacrifice, strength. And Sarah had taken it like it was just another thing she deserved. A week passed. I called again. Texted. Nothing. So I drove to her house. David answered the door. He looked surprised to see me but kind. Alina, hey. Come in. Sarah's out shopping. I nodded, stepping inside. The house was a mansion, marble floors, giant windows, the kind of place that echoed. As we sat in the living room, I noticed a small gold sparkle on the coffee table. I leaned closer and my heart dropped. There it was. Mom's ring. I froze. David followed my eyes. Oh, that ring. Sarah said it was from her grandmother. My lips parted. That's our mother's ring. David blinked. Wait, what? I told him everything. How Mom had given it to me. How Sarah visited and it went missing. How she denied even knowing about it. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood and said, "Come with me." He led me to their bedroom and opened a drawer in her vanity. Inside were small velvet pouches. He opened one. Earrings I hadn't seen in years, Mom's. He opened another, Mom's locket. Another, our childhood silver bracelets. I felt sick. Sarah had been stealing from Mom's room for months, maybe even before she passed. David looked pale. She told me this was all family heirloom stuff from her side. I didn't think to ask. We stood there, both realizing that Sarah wasn't just selfish. She was cold, calculating. I took pictures of everything. Every piece. For proof. I didn't take anything with me. I left quietly, thanking David and driving home in silence. But my brain was on fire. I needed revenge, but not with shouting or violence. I wanted her to feel exposed. Shamed. I wanted her perfect life to crack right in front of her. And I knew exactly how to do it. I waited 3 days. Then, using a new email account, I sent anonymous screenshots to David. Each picture with a short caption. She stole this from her dead mother's drawer. Ask her where she got it. No name. No threat. Just the truth. 2 days later I got a text from Sarah. You little snake. I didn't reply. A few hours later David called me. His voice was quiet, serious. I've spoken to a lawyer, he said. I had no idea. Thank you for telling me. Are you okay? I asked. I will be, he said. But I don't think Sarah will be. She called me 20 times that night. Left voicemails screaming, sobbing, begging. I blocked her. I had no guilt. She betrayed our mother. She betrayed me. And she betrayed the man who trusted her. But I wasn't finished yet. Because there was one more secret Sarah thought I'd never tell. Something that could end everything she built. And I was ready to use it. Sarah never knew what hit her. After David walked out, silence crept over the house. The kind of silence that presses against your ears until it becomes deafening. She stood frozen, hands still on the table where the small velvet box had once sat. The air around her felt heavy, as if the walls themselves were judging her. She expected David to come back. To shout. To cry. To rage. But hours passed and he never did. That silence, it scared her more than any screaming ever could. Alina, meanwhile, sat in her car just a few streets away, gripping the steering wheel. Her hands trembled, not from regret, but from adrenaline. She hadn't slept the night before. Hadn't eaten much either. Revenge had a way of filling you up, then hollowing you out. She had sent David the email with the photos of the ring, the pawn ticket, and even a copy of the text message Sarah had accidentally sent her bragging about it all. And now she waited. The next day, chaos erupted. Sarah's phone blew up with calls from her in-laws, friends, and even co-workers. Someone had leaked the story to an anonymous gossip page that covered community scandals, and it exploded. Screenshots of the pawn receipt, the photo of the ring on someone else's finger at a sketchy jewelry store, and a blurry shot of Sarah at the pawn shop made rounds like wildfire. She tried to do damage control, but every call she made seemed to only make things worse. David blocked her. He moved out of the house and into a rental within 24 hours. Their joint account was frozen. He even showed up to her office and handed her divorce papers in front of her boss. The look of sheer humiliation on her face was exactly what Alina had envisioned. But this wasn't enough. Alina knew Sarah had always hidden things. Not just from her but from everyone. Things even David didn't know. Secrets she'd sworn would stay buried. Like how Sarah used David's money to help pay off an old boyfriend's gambling debt. Or how she once accidentally erased files from a rival co-worker's computer to get a promotion. Alina had the proof. And she was just getting started. She sent David another email. This time with voice recordings. Years ago, Sarah had once confessed things during a drunken night on the phone with Alina. Alina had saved the recordings. Back then it was to remind herself never to trust her. Now, it was gold. David listened. He forwarded the recordings to his lawyer. He now had a case to fight the prenup Sarah had made him sign under false pretenses. Financial fraud, deception, emotional abuse, it all added up. The court battle that followed was brutal. Sarah cried, pleaded, and even tried to play the victim. But the judge wasn't swayed. Alina attended the final hearing. Not in person but via live stream. She watched as Sarah sat on the witness stand, red-eyed, trembling. Her expensive dress looked wrinkled. Her makeup was smeared. She was a shell of the confident, arrogant woman who once told Alina she'd never be good enough to marry a man like David. In the end, the judge ruled in David's favor. The prenup was voided. Sarah had to pay back a significant amount of money and lost rights to the marital home. Alina couldn't help but smile. But she wasn't finished. There was one more layer to this revenge, something poetic. Alina posted an anonymous story online. A first-person account of how a sister betrayed her family by stealing her dead mother's ring and selling it behind everyone's back. She didn't name names. But she included just enough details, dates, city locations for people to figure it out. It went viral on Reddit, TikTok, and even YouTube. Comment sections erupted. What kind of monster sells their dead mom's ring? She deserves everything she's getting. Whoever wrote this, you're a queen. Sarah couldn't show her face anywhere. Her social life collapsed. The women who once gossiped with her now whispered about her. Her in-laws disowned her. Her boss demoted her. citing reputational harm. The wall she built with lies and vanity came crashing down, brick by brick. Alina, on the other hand, finally felt free. She sat at her mother's old vanity, gently placing a replica of the stolen ring on her finger, not because she cared about the ring itself, but because of what it represented. Justice. Closure. A symbolic middle finger to the woman who thought she could bury truth under layers of manipulation. Weeks later, Alina received a package in the mail. No return address. Inside was the original ring. No note. No apology. Just the ring. Tarnished. Scratched. But real. It didn't matter. Alina smiled, then locked it away in her safe. Not as a keepsake, but as a reminder. No matter how long it takes, karma always finds its way. And sometimes, it arrives in velvet boxes. If you loved this story, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share for more jaw-dropping revenge tales. Your support keeps these stories coming. Thank you for watching Revenge Tier.